All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game two of our quarterfinal. Table for four, down one game to back in our day, as these teams are going to swap sides and head into game two. And I'm expecting some different picks.
I'm actually expecting back in our day to ban
Come
Trundle,
on. What's the worst that could happen?
as
Yeah.
that seems to be the power pick for both these junglers. And since back in our day is not on the blue side, they should just ban it away.
Yeah, I would not be surprised.
Afraid of the dark.
Maybe they're just hoping that TFF does something silly and drops one of their bans
You
on
too
Trundle,
will
but I
be
don't think so.
judged.
So we'll see here with this third ban in a moment, as some pretty normal bans
They
going back and
disgrace
forth.
the art of war.
And yeah, basically the same bans, I think, out of TFF there for the first round.
Yep, and there's the
There
Trundle
it
ban.
is. Yeah, smart. So we'll
I've-
see what the priority is here for
It's
table
going to
for
be
four.
Singed, I'm going to guess, for Freg,
Ooh.
as that is the ban they gave up to ban the Trundle. I still agree with the Trundle ban, as that is what Killian has performed the best on this season.
And you were right. So here we go. You've had a whole week to prepare, probably longer, as I'm guessing when the regular season ended, they expected to be in this matchup against TFF. What does Back in Our Day have prepared for the Singed?
Chopman's going to play her god again. It's just going to happen. Oh, really? The Maokai.
That's... All right.
This might be a little bit of gloating from Dario Chapman, because the Freg did do a number on Hibbs for the Singed versus Maokai matchup. So this could be Chapman trying to make a statement later on in the playoffs. Like,
yeah, it's a very aggressive statement to make, because this is not a great place to beat the Maokai. This is putting all of the eggs into Master Splinter's basket and saying that we're going to win this as a 2v2 top lane.
so if TFF once again picks that heavy AP comp, which now we do see an actual AD carry out of them,
Ooh.
that Maokai would have been really good. Would have been able to just prioritize MR and would take over the game.
Yeah, and I wonder if that was the thought process, as we've seen TFF play that double triple mage almost every match since Gabe O'Neill's joined the team. So maybe they thought, hey, this is free, we take the Maokai. But no, drastic departure for table for four. We're
Varus
going to get
Bard.
Bard and Varus. It's new and it excites me.
I'm scared of how bad Dan will int on Bard. Unless for some reason this Bard's going somewhere else.
I can't imagine it is, and it's going to be Hecarim to round things out. So that is, I probably could have predicted that. I think that they're going to feel good about Hecarim Maokai trying to lay the pain down on the Singed early.
So you know who Hecarim and Maokai work really well with?
Who?
Orianna.
You
So
think
we're
she's
gonna
making it through?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be the
Grounded.
Vel'Koz and the Ziggs ban again, more than likely, from TFF.
All right, and while we're heading into the second rotation here, Back in Our Day wants this to be a total departure composition, as we have not had any of the same picks for TFF yet, and the Talia now banned as well. They are banning, they're taking their picks away.
Oh, they do ban it, okay.
Smart. I think anyone can tell you that's played League of Legends for more than a few months not to let the Orianna get paired with the Maokai Hecarim comp, and even TFF figures that one out.
That is a good adjustment, but what mid laner are they going to leave up for Blab?
Playtime's over.
I'm going to guess it's going to be the Ziggs that they leave for him, banning away the Vel'Koz, as Vel'Koz has received quite a few buffs as of lately.
Yeah, I know Blab has kind of avoided
Really?
Vel'Koz this season, even when it's been open, not like it was in maybe some prior splits. So we're gonna see. Does he think this is the comp to play it?
I don't agree with the Ziggs ban. Because Hecarim and Maokai are going to establish that front line and cause chaos, and you can just sit back with the big purple laser and mow down people.
Yeah, and they're gonna make it even faster with the Sivir coming through.
I have to see what TFF has to respond. As I did like the Swain pick for Disenchanted, I think they need him on something more explosive, something that can pop off a lot more.
And
And
all right, Lee Sin coming out for Zach.
I have lost all faith in TFF.
This is, I mean, almost looks like a tilted composition.
It definitely.
We'll see here. They got one pick to round things out, and this is really coming down to the wire here on all of these picks.
And they're just not going to pick? What?
I assume that was a placeholder pick. Yeah, that's Kled, not Jana. We're gonna find out real quick. So that's Kled. They were trying to figure out the trades there. And it is going to be Vel'Koz coming through here for Blabuer. So we'll remake real fast. Let these guys pick with their proper picks.
I actually like the Kled into the Vel'Koz for that early bully. Vel'Koz being very immobile and Kled doing a lot of damage at that level 3. Blab is going to have to respect that. After winning a game, I'm not sure if Blab will.
Yeah, we're okay, there we go. Took them a sec here to remember that you got to actually drop the game to get that remake with your new champs. But we'll be coming through in just a sec here, guys. As I screenshotted this one like a boss.
Attaboy. Way to go, ex-commissioner. Eventually, we'll restart this game. I have some issues.
Alright, so it looks like Back in Our Day was not alerted until the absolute last moments that that was a Kled pick, so we're gonna have a repick on that very last pick, but everything else up to that point is gonna be the same draft, so we'll just take a sec to run through here. Because of the delay, as we typically handle with
But all my light puns would have
placeholder
brightened your
picks,
day.
that is going to cost table for 4 a ban in game 3. So we'll get to that when we get to game 3. That won't affect this game, but it could. Well, the Vel'Koz might not be there. So it looks like Blab agrees with what you were saying about that matchup.
That what they agreed upon there? I was not keeping up with what the chat was going on.
What's the worst?
Yeah,
that could
they are,
happen?
like I said, it was 4 seconds left on the Vel'Koz pick when Back in Our Day found out that that was a Kled pick and not Jana.
You too will be judged.
That is a fair reassessment then.
And so that is what is costing them the ban in game 3. Those are the rules. That's
No, it makes sense. It makes absolute sense.
They disgrace the art of war.
And so we'll see what happens in game 3. That ban, these bans have actually mattered a lot, it's felt like, so. But that will be next game, so we'll worry about it when we get there. These guys going through the redraft real fast. So what do you think Blab might pick into this Kled instead of the Vel'Koz?
That's a good question, because I'm not sure what else Blab plays. Maybe Lissandra? as they already have a team fight comp.
Yeah, the Lissandra would make a lot of sense with the composition, and that's been one of his go-tos this season after his big three.
So I would not be surprised if that's what gets pulled out, especially, with Sivir, Hecarim, Maokai, and the brand, which is the only thing on there that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Alright, so looking like they're gonna figure this out to make this pick now. So we can avoid the trades. Nope, just kidding. They are gonna take all of their time to figure this pick out, as they are able to. So looks like they were not final, or maybe they just don't want to give TFF much time to discuss what the final pick is.
Yep, and you know what? That's perfectly fine.
I'm going.
Grounded?
Inevitably.
Alright, got that all squared away. We are finally down to where we left off here, so one pick to go.
What will Blab's pick be?
This is kind of the dream if you're a carry player, to get 5 minutes to figure out your pick.
Absolutely.
Everyone, especially as a mid laner, you always dream of having this moment. And maybe it won't be anything uber exciting. It will just be that Lissandra that we kind of predicted. But that is a really perfect complement to this composition. And honestly, I think that Back in our day won this draft super hard.
Absolutely. And I'm also going to jokingly say that Blab just probably tuned into the stream and is looking for us to tell him what champion to play.
Well, he's listening. But yeah, we were talking about this earlier, so kind of bringing things back together after this whole delay. This composition on the table for 4, it looks tilted. It looks like a bunch of guys just picked a champ they really wanted to try playing, and that was kind of that. The only thing I don't know what this team does from a macro point other than hope somebody pops off in an individual matchup.
Yeah, I don't like Lee Sin right now. They do kind of have a death ball with the Singed and Kled who will run in there and run around on the back line. But Lee Sin and Bard are just question marks for me.
Yeah, and very drastic departures from what we've seen out of these guys. We've seen a few standard bot lanes out of TFF, and it's usually not gone great. They've just been much better at that double mage lane, and Bard, not much room for error as a Bard player.
Yep, and we do see that Chopman will be taking the teleport this time around. So he's looking to be there for his team, which I really do like.
Yeah, that sets up, and you have to have the teleport against the Singed. But once again, I mean, that is the pick that really defines how this whole game goes, is what happens with that Singed. Can Singed and Lee Sin make a formidable 2 versus 2?
Singed and Lee Sin do a lot of damage. And if they focus down the Hecarim, if it is a 2 versus 2, they should be able to get the kill. But if they're not focusing the same target, then it's going to go poorly for them. Though we still will have to see if Blab is going to respect the Kled, as Disenchanted has played this in the past and has done really well on it. It still does a lot of damage at level 3. So we'll have to see if Blab is going to respect it or not.
Anyways, just in case anyone was not clear about our placeholder pick rules. So the reason we do this is because since you have to buy champs in this game, if you're doing pre-made, we're not playing on the tournament realm where you have all characters unlocked. It can screw with your strategic diversity if you can't pick a champ because somebody doesn't own it. So we allow placeholder picks in the draft. The rule has always been you are supposed to whisper the placeholder pick to the opposing team and to the production before the pick gets locked in. So if you're going to be doing a situation where somebody doesn't own a champ, you need to figure this out a few seconds ahead of time so you have a moment to message the correct people. We've normally given a little bit of leeway with it being before it's locked in, but not much, and we've rarely ever had issues with it because this has been the rule for 6 years now. But obviously, the enemy team wants to know what they're counterpicking, so you need to let them know. That's the rationale behind all of that. We've always taken away bans for teams that have not been able to get that off in time. It is, if you're making the trade, your responsibility to figure it out early. And that did not happen in this game. So that is why the ban was taken.
Yep, and
I know that's a clear rule to 90% of this league.
So something I want to point out is that last game, Killian was very inactive in the early game. Now he's on a Lee Sin, who should be ganking at basically level 2 and onward. So I'm going to really hope to see him doing something.
Yeah,
early.
we have to see something. If you pick Lee Sin and you can't be active, I mean...
No, he will have the damage in the jungle early, so he should go try and harass Splinter. But if he's just going to do the same thing he did last game and farm, he's going to be in for a world of hurt.
So I know you were saying you're not a big fan of Lee Sin currently. How is his duelist potential? Is it still...
Oh, he's absolutely
there?
still great at the one-on-one duel against other junglers because of how his kit works. And Hecarim, who doesn't have a lot of damage early, will definitely lose the one-on-one. But we're going to need to see Killian actually go and abuse the matchup.
Minions have spawned.
If he just goes and farms the jungle, he's going to let the wonderful Hecarim over there become a big tank that's going to be unstoppable.
Yeah, and we do see sometimes Zach does kind of, when he has his invade games, he does like to do it. So, and he's got the 2 solo lanes that can help him out. I guess that's the big thing I'm watching for here early is, do the solo lanes for TFF get pushing early? Do we see Zach try to invade? Can they make something happen early on? As Freg is starting things off on Singe time. Dario Chapman has to be careful. He's already in Ignite range here.
Yeah, Singe does too much damage. I do like the change up from Killian, going from red straight to that upper Scuttle Crab. So he will have priority on ganking top lane. Splinter opting to clear his wolves and go to the red buff next. If Killian were to look for something, this would be a great time to look to try and invade. But Splinter will cover that out with a ward on the back of his red buff. So good job by Splinter adapting to the Lee Sin pick, who is going to definitely try to abuse the Hecarim early. Though we don't see anybody responding to Killian being...
this is first blood. Shotman
Absolutely.
already been ignit. Shotman running actually. Whoa, Shotman with the jukes, with the plays. He's getting the knock aside, and
wow.
Shotman barely makes it out.
Good
Jeez.
job. Did he even blow the flash?
He's gonna lose a lot in this top lane. He really wants to stick around under this tower, and it looks like he will because he would be so far behind on EXP.
Well, Freg has no mana. He can't stay in that lane, and
that's why
keep trying to push it
Chapman
out.
knows it's safe to stay, clear this under his tower, and then teleport back in so that he can be up on EXP in just a minute.
Once again, the Lee Sin going in, another ward placed down by Splinter.
Yeah.
Good job by him to make sure that he is staying safe in that
That's
jungle.
some aggressive positioning, though. Zach is now invading with a top laner recalled and a mid laner under his own turret. Those are the kind of plays that in a lot of games this season have turned into Zach deaths. But no collapse on the back in our day.
Absolutely,
Yes.
and he's now falling behind in the level game. He's level 2, the Splinter's level 3. Splinter can just go back over and get that red buff eventually. He doesn't need the red buff to clear camps. In fact, he's much better off with just that blue going to Raptors and then Krugs. So Splinter really unaffected by Killian stepping in there and trying to look for something. And now the Lee Sin is behind and is going to have to play catch up.
Yeah, and speaking of big macro plays, Gotman was able to slow push that in the top lane, did not have to use his teleport, so he's actually in a pretty good spot now. He's got both of his summoners, Freg has neither. As Scotch is going for the solo 1 versus 2, a heal comes out of Gabe O'Neal and it doesn't
It's
matter.
first blood for Scotch? It's something you don't hear every day.
Big damage on the Brands, and now they're nearly getting a kill onto the Bard as well.
No, Salvo used to play a lot of Sivir because it used to just be, it's a Sivir comp, run them down. So I'm liking what I'm seeing so far out of this bottom lane for back in our day.
Yeah, it's turning into a big CS lead.
Oh
Salvo's
no,
gonna
Freg
recall here.
flips a minion.
Oh my god, is Freg gonna get solo killed? Yes, he is. Solo killed as the Singed. Oof.
And back in our day, or TFF is thinking about game 3.
Yeah, maybe not over yet. Renai Circulation gonna get Ignite here in the mid lane, but able to walk out and doesn't even have to blow his flash. Killian did not make it to top lane in time to punish Shotman, and this is going great all across the board for back in our day.
Absolutely. Now, Pled can't even approach the wave because Lissandra can just bully him out of there.
Yeah, we do see Bard is in the, well, was in the neighborhood, but he's going back towards his bot lane.
Yeah, well, while
Just
Kled is
weapon
unmounted,
jabs.
he is very susceptible to being ganked, especially with the Lissandra Claw.
Yeah, but Killian makes it in, just waves at Blabuer before heading back the other way. I thought Vlad was going to take that.
I did as well.
He had ult and Ignite. I think he could have got a kill there. It would have been so disrespectful.
Absolutely.
But not normally the kind of play we see Vlad going for, so I guess I'm not shocked that it didn't happen.
Well, we don't
And-
usually see Scotch flashing forward and igniting for a kill, but, you know, back in our day is, you know, exceeding expectations right now.
Yeah, they look they look comfortable right now. Where we were talking about TFF looks a little tilted. Back in our day, it has settled in. They know this is a best of 5. It's a long night potentially, and then they got a bunch of their comfort picks. They're gonna just go play their game, and it's going best case scenario is now auto attack Q.
Disenchanted not respecting the fact that while you're dismounted, you are in bad position.
Yeah, and that was super easy. As Frag now going to be in some danger here. He does have summoners available, so Shotman
He
can't play
does.
super
Oh,
aggressive.
he gets the ignite down. He's gonna get a kill.
Yeah, actually, the Maokai ult whiffed there, so that
Really
was
good
the.
job out of Frag. He is good at this Singed, and Singed can affect a game. As later on, Singed will just be that annoying side pressure.
Yes, back in our day, going to trade that for Dragon. Still, I would say a win for Frag there in the top lane.
Absolutely, TFF needs somebody to be doing something, and once again, we see Killian not being an impact at all on an early game jungler. No, I want to see him go sit in a bush and camp something. Go sneak into the bottom lane, wait for Scotch to step too far forward, as he's done multiple times this season, and look for something.
Oof, that's Scotch damage. You're going to make it. Actually, that's a stun that's going to land. This
That's gonna be a kill.
It's a kill for Scotch.
This is not looking good. Fed
Fortunately-
Brand.
Fortunately for them, the Frag
And
potential
now,
is still
Hecarim.
there. But Mash the Splinter puts himself on the board, and Frag is going to have to absolutely keep his foot on the gas for TFF to stay in this game.
I don't know if there's enough gas in the tank for TFF to stay in this game. This is looking very grim across the board. You have a Lee Sin who's not ganking. You have a bottom lane that is falling apart. Mid lane that's behind. And yes, your top laner's ahead, but that's Maokai, and he's going to be looking for the team fights anyway.
Yeah, they are going in big here in this mid lane. Killian only takes one turret shot there.
Okay. You know, that was a kick.
Yeah, you gotta get that Lissandra out of your face, man. She's got short range moves.
Oh, a good job by Splinter, by the way, for absorbing that Kled ultimate, because he did have his ultimate to get out of there. So I really like him staying behind so Blab wouldn't get that CC on him. So we see back in our day operating on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, and some big damage going to get laid down on Shotman again here. He's going to lose about a third of his health, although Freg also takes a bit in return.
Once Freg has his ultimate back up, it should be his lane to win.
Yeah, Killian, though, going to be found by his buddy Master Splinter here. Kled is currently in his base, so Killian's going to get the hell out of dodge.
All as Maokai had the edge going in. So Killian sticking around in this river, not a good thing.
Yeah, and Blab's going to force him all the way back into his jungle there.
So, if you are TFF right now, what are you hoping on? What is your saving grace?
I think you have to try to send Killian up to the top lane and get another kill onto Chopman. See if you can maybe turn into this tower going down. And he is currently in the area, but he's seen. Master Splinter, though, is very far away, so they have an opportunity for a play there. But Killian, no, Singe wants the back, and they're not going to take it. Killian basing again, so we are almost going to be at the 11-minute mark here. Still not really any impact out of that Lee Sin.
We should assuredly see bottom turret go down here soon, as Hecarim is once again in the area. He will more than likely be diving this with Predator.
Yeah, Gabe, those health bars are so small at this point.
So
the
much
game
damage.
Shoves him out, and Scott
Another
on
kill
his
from
3-0.
Brand.
They get the stun. I don't think they're done. The boomerang.
A double kill for Brand.
Oh man, a nice play out of Scott.
Be
and
two
the
turrets.
Creeps took the turret there. Yeah, that's 2 turrets. They're going to be damn close.
Well, there's 4 minutes left in this game, I see. As I don't see a way for TFF to get back into this.
Yeah, they gotta find something fast here. Is Lab's laying down some damage in the mid lane. At least this bot lane turret is still up. Singed is starting the proxy, so that's something.
At least Sinch is doing his job, but he's currently looking at the rest of the team going, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah, Freg has been very good this game. As the mid laners are going to try to trade, Ignite's going down in both directions. Blab going to stop watching. The junglers are showing up. Master Splinter trying to make this happen.
Killian finally gets a kill.
Are low. Meanwhile, in this top lane, Freg is looking for this power dive. Can he pull it off? The Ignite is down. He takes 1 turret shot, but he can survive that. Splinter not able to find anything as he's now in a 1 versus 3. Dario Chapman flashes, wasting as much time as he can. Needs to find a recall here.
Yeah, you know, not bad out of table for 4.
I don't know if it's over either. Freg is, he's looking for it. He wants it.
Does not have enough damage right now to kill that Maokai under that turret. He will die.
And it looks like he knows that too as he's backing off. So there's something. We've got Killian on the board here. A little extra kill gold over to table for 4. Maybe they're 1 skirmish away from kind of evening this game out.
They would need a really great play out of their top half. As this bottom half right now is basically just trying to cling to life and get any CS that they possibly can. Now we see the buildings of a Leandri's Torment going for that brand already, which is going to be a lot of damage. That is one of the cool interactions about Bard. If you do hit the Sivir with the spell shield active, Actually, I think he was just late on that.
Jeez,
Honestly.
Killian is a squishy Lee Sin.
Yeah.
Oh, but
And
it's
we're
looking
seeing,
like
we're seeing what a team comp does that is meant for grouping together. Now they're taking objectives. They're playing this game slowly and intelligently. They already took the first turret.
Content to go for the trade here. They're going to give up top turret for this dragon. See if they can find a team fight in the aftermath, but I don't think TFF's going to give it to them yet. As they do got to start working towards that top lane. Frag about to pressure onto the tier 2. There's actually some big damage going on to Blab. He's eating a lot of the CC. He had to ult defensively there, but now the Lee Sin's going forward.
Nice
There's
kick
the
out of
sack.
Killian.
Yeah, easy play.
No, those are the plays we need to be seeing.
Yeah, now they have the numbers here in the mid lane. They're looking for it, but they
A
disable the
good
mid lane turret.
ult on the turret.
Yeah,
That was
Maokai
a
is going
nice
for the
try,
flank. Oh, here comes
but
Brand.
the
That's a
Brand.
lot of the gold. Oh, man, and Hackerum's there too. Oh, no. Table for 4. They wanted to turn this one around, but it's a disaster. 2 turrets deep. A double for Brand, a double for Hackerum. Was Renai circulation worth it?
Absolutely not.
Now they're going to lose their mid lane turret. They didn't even take the mid lane turret themselves either because they were going for the home run play there. And this is,
They could have walked out of that with just the 1-0, no problem. A small little step back in the right direction for this game, but they tried to bite off more than they could chew by going for salvo.
yeah, I don't think they were as far down as they thought they were either. They were down a lot of kills, but on gold, I mean, they could have just taken that mid lane turret and we would have been very close to an even game.
We would, because once again, Freg is building a nice in CS in the top lane.
Yeah, Frank's gigantic. He's up 1,400 gold on Mad Cow.
And, you know, Salvo still can't farm, no matter what champion you give him. His numbers are still kind of mediocre. But, still see a nice 3k gold lead for back in our day.
Yeah, so the big thing to watch going forward is what can Scotch do in these team fights. Is there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to actually be the team fight carry. He's gotten all of this kill gold as all right. No
I do
steal.
like that going over to Freg. Splinter?
Looks like they're gonna fight here. Splinter feels good about
man,
this. They've
that's
already
a lot
pushed
of
that
damage.
Grab comes in. This is big
Nice
damage coming
ult.
out, but a good Bard ult there, and it's looking like Table 4 is able to disengage this one.
Really good disengage, actually, out of Table for 4. That was a good Bard ult, good Lee Sin kick, and then follow-up stun. And we see Disenchanted taking another turret.
Yeah, but what will they give up is they now have members showing in both side lanes. So back in our day, it says, all right, we can take that. We're going to push down this mid lane tier 2, and it ends up costing them a very important turret, as now the mid lane has been destroyed here.
And throw up a portal, but will not take it.
Yeah, Dire Trapman does end up popping a teleport to get back to top lane, so that's going to be off the menu for a while. But Freg now, Leandri's Torment completed on the Singed.
You know, something I do
bigger.
have to say is Dan has landed 2 really good ults. Fortunately, the play went south for the dive mid, but the ult only hitting the turret to disable it was really nice. And that last ult was really good out of him. So if he keeps landing Bard ults like that, it might be the game changer that they need.
Yeah, but unfortunately, everything between the ults hasn't been going so great. And I know we were talking about, we haven't seen TFF have much luck. Well, we don't have a chance. Jesus, Master Splinter. Gabriel is still down on his luck as that Hackerum
A
puts
1
out
for
a huge
1,
pick.
but that's a shutdown. That's a huge shutdown. That was a 4-0 Hackerum.
Yeah, the kill though, it's going on to the Lee Sin. It feels like Lee Sin's time is over. What is Lee Sin ever going to do in this game?
His time was over after 10 minutes when he'd only ganked once.
Yeah, and looking like the fight going to continue. His Blab's positioning very aggressively. Still defensively though. The Kled taking damage, but he's soaking it up well enough. That Ignite is down, but he's going to survive. Renai's circulation makes out with a sliver of health.
That was almost really bad for back in our day. And, you know, that is something I've noticed over the season is once Splinter goes down in a fight, they start losing a lot of coordination. You would think
Yes.
that Splinter would be able to shot call better for them, but in fact, it's usually the opposite where he's not talking after he dies.
But fortunately for him, this is the easiest gank in the book, as he's going to walk up, say, hi, Frag, bye, Frag. Scotch with his 7th kill of the game. And they're going to take out Shelly before she can take their tier 2 top lane.
It's going to be important for TFF to try to kill off that brand. They have tools to get to him quickly with the Kled ult and the Singed. He have to run in there, and Singed eventually won't, if he builds some MR, won't be caring too much about the brand damage. But they need some way to get to that backline, as Salvo and Lab are not the threats this game. It is all Splinter and Scotch. Well, and we do see Varus has Tyr and Yomu's, which I am not a huge fan of the lethality tanks.
Yeah, and this team's not going late. You're not going to win late against this team. I just don't think Tyr makes sense here.
You know what you love to see as a group as 5 comp? 3 Mountain Drakes.
That too. Yeah, Baron, at least they're not taking it as early as they did in game 1, but Baron is very on the table for the 5 from back in our day. And it will go down fast.
Absolutely, that brand is dealing a ton of damage. While Sivir and the Lissandra aren't main damage dealers, they still provide a consistent amount of DPS.
Yeah, and they provide, you know, speed and lockdown.
You know what?
More
I
of the
will
carries to get in.
say this, because of who is
We might not have
currently
a chance here because Hecarim going in for a very aggressive flank, but Master Splinters just gets caught with his pants down.
Something I will say for TFF, the later this game goes, the better off they are based on who is currently carrying. The more tanky that Kled becomes and Singed becomes, the more they will be able to dive onto that brand. And as Brand and Hecarim are currently the main damage dealers for back in our day, they're going to struggle if those two go down.
Yeah, I know there have been points in the past where I've talked about how back in our day, I just don't trust them in the mid game, and this game has really been showing it. They've had a gigantic lead that they haven't done anything with in, what, 6-7 minutes here?
They should honestly be deathballing. They can fight under turrets with their team comp. They should be going up to a turret, pressing that Sivir R, and then looking for a fight. I will say that the Bard ult will help deter those, but eventually you're going to have something that sticks. You have Lissandra, a Hecarim, and a Maokai paired with that Sivir ult. Should be able to dive turrets and walk away with how much of a lead they have.
Yeah, but now instead it's 22 minutes and they're only at a 1,500 gold lead. I mean, they're still in control here, and I just, as this game goes on, I feel so much better about their comp, but it could have been over.
You know, I'm still uncertain, you know. While Lissandra and oh Dan, what are you doing? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Shotman wants to finish
man.
this. Him and Salvo able to get the kill. Now they're looking for the knockdown Scotch Flash where they've got the stun to the Sin. Sin wants to make something, but he can't get it. And finally, back in our day, is able to get something going again. And
Dan.
they are walking over towards this Baron. This is still early. It's 23 minutes, guys. Blab, though, going for the zone. He's pretty split from his team, but here they come. Sivir has popped the ult. Blab has laid it out, and now the flanking is coming through. Killian is solo trying to trade here, but he's going to go down. Splinter in the front line, wants to finish this one off, but it's going to be just another kill. And I don't know if the creeps are in position to push here. Gabe, well, he's going to be a second away here before he can start wave clearing under this turret. Freg just about to spawn, and they're going to try to lay some
I
damage
would
down
love
on
to
this
see a
tower.
Bard ult right there. Yep.
Hits just the brands.
And just enough minions to tank up the turret. I would have preferred him targeting all the minions, but not a bad Bard ult, just wasn't enough.
Alright, Thor, I need to ask. Well, we're going to have a pause, so we'll have even more of a chance here.
Ask away.
All of this all chat coming out of TFF, is this friendly banter, or is this turbo tilted players resorting to this?
I'm going to say that it's tilt. Absolutely going to say that it's tilt. No, that's how Freg and Zach can take over this game, is by tilting the enemy team, getting inside their heads.
Bring them down to their plane of existence, hopefully. But
Absolutely.
fortunately for us, there's a quick pause here. This back end is going to try to close this one out. We finally have an obvious point on the map for them to go to. Mid lane exposed. They're a death ball composition. There's really no excuse for them to not just group as 5. Especially if Freg tries to keep split pushing top, which he's currently backing. He's recognizing the situation, because if he gives Dario Chapman a teleport play in a 5v4, it could be game ending, just like his split push ended game 1.
Yep, but if his team can play safe and let him split push, could potentially take an advantage for them, because he is very far ahead of Dario Chapman.
Yeah, and Splinter is a bit deep. He was trying to split push. He does not have a ghost available, but I guess it won't matter, as he's still pretty far from Freg here.
Yep, and he's starting to get tanky.
But ooh, Blab is going for...
Ooh, I thought he could blow him up in a heartbeat.
I don't blame him for not taking the play, though. We were just saying, when Splinter's not around, these guys sometimes take bad plays, and Splinter is currently the one eating up the Singe pressure. Maybe not how I would be playing this out as if I were that team. Is now Dario Chapman taking some damage here. Dario Chapman in the 1v2. Oh, he kills Dan.
And now
saved by the
Dario
bottle.
Chapman.
Now Renai is here. Scott is here. Disenchanted. Leaning under his turret. Wild. So this will be a 4v4 as Freg is coming from the flank, but Splinter is also pushing in this bot lane. I think the table for 4 needs to take this fight while they have an opportunity.
They absolutely need to right now. They need to pull the trigger.
And they were slow on it. Now Freg is going for a very deep flank, but he's scared. If Freg is scared to take this engagement, not something we say often, and
Not tanky right now.
yeah, they missed their opportunity. I think he needed to just ult Ghost and pray. And instead, they're going to give up a tier 2 bot lane. And now it's Splinter versus Dan. I think Dan dies under that turret.
I absolutely agree. And, I think it's Cast or Curse that we were talking up Dan's Bard ults, and now they are going south.
Yeah, didn't ult the mid lane turret at the mid inhib when he had a chance. Now that ult ends up being unlucky. And now we have a 3 versus 4 situation in favor of Back in Our Day in this top lane.
Those
With
silver
two
boomerangs
bear-
are doing a lot of damage now.
Yeah, and Gabe and Disenchanted are both so low on health here. It's going to be a very hard hold, and I think they're going to give this one up. Yeah, they have to. So
It's the right call.
finally, some pressure comes through for Back in Our Day as they take a lot all over the map. Their gold lead ballooning back up again.
I do like the split push with the Hecarim, as he is quite strong with the Triforce, and he is building tanky, so he can survive. Grouping the other ones together is also a good strategy. That is a good, solid core of 4. A lot of disengage and a lot of damage.
Now with those 3 Earth Dragons, Back in Our Day wants to set up around Baron Nashor. If TFF gets split really at all, they're going to just get Sivir ulted and run train on. And actually, BioD recalls, I don't think TFF knows this has started. They see Blab in the mid lane, so they may not predict this. And this is a fast Baron Nashor. Going to be going over to BioD. Surprise.
I'm pretty sure TFF knew it was happening, but there's nothing they can do about that. That would be the end of the game if they ran in on there and tried to fight them at Baron.
Yeah,
and we do see a force.
Yeah, they want to do something. This Chopman is actually chunked very fast here, but
wow.
Jesus, he's so fast!
Oh my god, look at Frag.
The 1-for-1 right now. Splitter says, my team is forcing this game slow. I will 1v5 by myself. So much damage on the head from Can Salvo mop up? No, he gets scared out there by the damage from Gabe O'Neal, and it ends up being a 2-for-2. But Blab is still going forward, looking for the defensive ult, though. That was not what he wanted. Gets one, maybe it was what he wanted, as he's looking for slows, looking for snares, looking to push these Baron creeps in. Doesn't
take that. Take that, Blab. That was another kill for you, bud.
Blab gives me such a whirlwind of emotions sometimes.
Absolutely. You know, that was not a bad fight for TFF. You know, no Baron. Way down in gold across the board.
Yeah,
unless your name is Frag. And they went 2-for-2. They started.
Yeah, it was a big fight. I think that both Blab and Salvo maybe were a little too timid there in situations where that fight could have been turned into just a steamroll win. But
no, and that was a fight that TFF chose to take against back in our day.
That was a good force. They needed to do something because that Baron death ball was coming straight down the mid lane, and now they've bought a lot of time off of that Baron buff.
Yeah, they're going to be able to push out the lanes. Maybe take a turret. Probably not, as they don't have a minion wave to go push it.
Yeah, but fortunately for back in our day, they get a chance to clear out both of these side waves right as TFF is recalling in the mid lane, so they should finally be able to set up their proper mid lane push here.
No, if we had time to take out of this game to have a gentleman's race, who do you think would win in the race? The Singed or the Hecarim right now?
How far are we racing?
Let's go
the 40-yard
down.
Dash is going Hecarim. If we're doing the lap around the rift, it's going to be the Singed. Now we do see some setup for a fight here. Gabe and Killian want to bait this bush, but it's just a Maokai they're going to find. It's not ideal, as Maokai forcing everyone back into their base, and they're actually getting kind of split off. The Kled's going to be the last one
this
here.
This inhibitor should be free for back in our day.
Yeah, there's still Baron buff here.
Or there's going to be a fight for it.
Yeah, TFF knows they have to fight or they're going to lose this game outright. We see back in our day playing this fight much more patiently than they have most of this game. The Bardal going to slow things for a moment.
Singed is dead.
Frag and Gabe both go down. The inhibitor's going down. And I think we're going to see back in our day try to end here. Remember, Baron and 3 Earths, these towers are going to get melted.
And in a 3v5, where you don't really have any damage, you are going to lose.
Yeah, a nice boomerang on a Salvo. That's going to be the game ended up. The Baron has worn off, but not going to matter, as back in our day, they want to disrespect. They want to mop up points here before finishing this one off. And back in our day, with a mostly in control game 2, gonna bring this the season point for TFF.
Yep, I would like to see back in our day play with their advantage better. But they ended up finishing out the game nice and clean.
So, alright, we will be taking a split second here to get ready for game 3, guys. We'll be back in just a moment, so stay tuned. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Game 3 of our quarterfinal. Back in our day, currently leading 2-0 against Table for 4, and they are
But all my
looking
light puns would have brightened
very
the
settled
day.
in.
Yes, they are. It is a rough time if you are a TFF fan or player. They are struggling to get any sort of grasp in the game.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how they're going to approach this
You
draft, as
too
now
will be
they are
judged.
looking to reverse sweep things to keep their season alive.
No, I would like to see more out of Killian. He needs to do something in the early game. He is literally just walking around clearing camps.
Yeah, it's been a very lackluster start to this series from him. He made a few plays as soon as that last match went on, but it was just a little too late.
Absolutely
And
is.
I would like to see him just pick a team fight jungler and, play the same way, but
I
instead
hear
you get to
you.
have a presence in the later phases of the game. But so we'll see what the last ban is here from TFF. Remember, they only have 2 instead of 3, so they've been banning Pantheon and Jinx with their other 2 all night. But on Back in Our Days side, we see the Singe ban coming through, and this means either Jinx or Trundle is about to go through.
Absolutely, and both are bad.
They disgrace the art
And
of
they're
war.
gonna opt. They're gonna opt for a trade. So they'll let. Well, I guess I shouldn't say a trade. They don't. They don't play Jinx.
Yeah, and if they pick it here, it's going to be some inexperienced hands.
I don't know if Back in Our Day is gonna pick Jinx. I'm gonna be honest. I think they might be really confident doing what works, and they might think that just stick with it. Don't give that really obvious target for Frag to jump onto. Especially if there's like a Wukong coming through. I think we might just see another Sivir comp come through.
Yeah, we definitely might.
I want to see if TFF picks Brands here, because that was a contested pick so far this series.
I would like the brand, especially if you're already picking the Wukong. You know, you're looking to fight. Brings a lot of damage. Master Yi? Okay.
Alright, Killian
Well-
has heard us on stream. He's going to pick something that scales this game, as the Master Yi is coming through here.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be farming in the jungle anyway and not ganking, might as well pick something that does something with the farm.
As a small note that may not actually affect this game, Killian is third on TFF's lineup right now. We have seen him play some mid games this season. Before Gabe joined the team, I believe, that when they were really kind of swapping around their roster, maybe they think a role swap is what they have to do in Game 3.
But where would you roll swap?
Just the mid and the jungle? I don't know. And maybe they swap everything. Maybe Dan's taking that Wukong top lane. Hey, we've seen Wukong support this season.
And Ezreal and Tom Kench. Not a well, you know, I like the Tom Kench pick, but I don't like the Ezreal pick.
Yeah, I'm curious if this means we're going to see something more aggressive coming in the top lane for Dario Chopman. Because right now, I don't know what the Tom Kench is going to be saving, and that's going to really come down to what these last 2 picks are.
We're seeing the TFFs going with the sword comp. Pick all the things that deal melee damage, throw them at the enemy team.
Child.
We got a Master
Sandraman
Yi.
coming through. That means 2 of Blab's big 3 are going to be available here.
You know what? I'd love to see that Wukong go support, and we see a Tryndamere. We get all the swords for TFF. No, show me some Death God Nero.
Grounded?
And
With Leah Ban.
Smart.
At this point, I don't know who or what's going where on TFF.
Yeah, I'll wait till I see a
Ball
full
is
lineup there.
angry.
As the Orianna band's coming through. So I think we're going to see Blab on Ziggs, no questions asked here.
Yep, we'll have to see what the TFF decides is worth counterpicking, and what Back in Our Day is going to choose to fill out their comp.
Playtime's over.
Yeah, that Ari band that we've seen every game coming through one last time. So it is going to be Brand who's made it deep into the draft for the first time.
Let us see what Back in Our Day decides to finish their comp with. Because like I said, Trundle could go top lane because Chapman has played a top before. They could pull out something weird in the jungle.
Yeah, they might be so confused about what's going where that they don't know what to do themselves.
I
one of the
do
other things
love
we
the
do
Pocky
know-
pickup.
Yeah, I actually agree. I think that's a smart, it's a lane neutral pick.
Stops the Wukong dash in, it stops Yasuo.
There's
That
just
is a really solid pick.
a lot of pressure on Blab's shoulders to be the carry here. I almost wonder if he has to go with the Malakaza. He's going with the Malzahar. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's not a super high damage late game pick, correct?
It does well into tanks, as it does shred health. But as we see right now, TFF doesn't give a damn about tanks. They are
Yeah,
just throwing damage.
That's true. This TFF comp, maybe we're seeing some different picks here out of Back in Our Day just because of what TFF is running here. So the draft is complete. I think we're gonna see.
Wait a minute. Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
What should I be saying?
Frag is currently hovering Smite with the Master Yi.
All right. Yeah, they got Dan going with the holding the teleport. Oh, I guess we'll wait a second. In case any of you do not know, Spectate can be a little buggy if people swap up summoners at the last year. Actually,
Things are being swapped around all over
let's
the
talk
place.
about Back in Our Day for a second. They are running Ignite in the top lane. I do not like that. You're up against a Master Yi. You are at some point going to need to teleport. Although maybe we're going to see that swap in a second here too. So all right, timed out. This is the final lineups for both of these teams, and it is a teleport from Table for 4. No teleport for Back in Our Day.
The Derek Chapman versus I'm Just Dan in the top lane. Killian and Gabe bot lane. With Freg in the jungle and Disenchanted on Yasuo in the mid lane.
Are we sure it's Disenchanted in the mid lane?
I'm pretty sure, as Wukong has teleport.
I mean, not in the bot lane on the Yasuo.
Maybe. Yeah, but
I was initially thinking we're going to see Gabe go back to mid, and we're going to see the Brand Yasuo bot lane, but there is no combination of those three champs that will surprise me in the bot lane.
Yeah, there's just a clusterfuck for TFF right now. They don't know what the hell to do. And I am not a fan, like you said, of the Poppy Ignite. Teleport would have been much better.
Yeah, especially because Poppy has such devastating teleport flanks. This is... Mad Cow is trying too hard to match Frag, and then the joke's on him, he's not even laning against Frag.
And, this is a dangerous game. There is even less damage than the Orianna Ezreal comp with Malzahar Ezreal. Shorter range. If TFF somehow snowballs, as they have damage in all 5 positions, this game can get out of hand.
Yeah, and that's going to be TFF's goal here. But if they do fall behind, it could be very tough to get back online as Yasuo, Yi, Wukong running into a Tahm Kench, Malzahar, Poppy, Trundle, Ezreal are going to just die so fast. The first 15 to 20 minutes are going to be so critical in this matchup.
Absolutely. And we're going to hope to see Dan perform better than his last time on Wukong. You're now laning. You have to be a useful top laner. You can't just go feed Poppy. We're in for some spice this game.
Yes, we are. And season on the line, might as well get spicy, right?
Absolutely. Nothing else has been working. Might as well throw the garbage can at him. Pick the strategy out of there.
And some of these are classic comfort picks. We've seen for years Dan go to that Wukong now in multiple positions. So I'm not surprised to see that. Although I was really getting my hopes up for Dan to play the Master Yi.
Well, let's see what Freg does as a jungler. I think this is his first ever jungle appearance.
Yeah, I really don't know what to expect. It's going to be such a drastic departure to what we know Freg to do in the top lane. Really until like the 15-20 minute point when then he gets to just be that AFK split pusher that he does love to be.
Yep, and if he gets to that point, there's not a lot of options for back in our day to respond. There is no one who can go 1v1 a Master Yi if he's left alone in his jungle. So this game's kind of a ticking time bomb.
God, League of Legends can be such a weird game sometimes. I love it.
Riot has thrown everything we've known and loved about League of Legends out the window this season.
Hey, it's okay. They made that nice apology post this week about how they screwed up.
No, at least they're honest. At least they're admitting to it finally. At first where they were not admitting to anything, like no,
This is
all
fine, and the players are the problem. I mean, what would I know though? I don't play the game, so. Oh man, where do I put the portraits?
That's what I'm trying to figure out right now.
Well, I got the top two set.
You know what? We got Brand and Wukong, or Vlad and Wukong in the bottom lane right now. That's what I'm guessing, with Yasuo in the mid lane. Except for you see Yasuo going towards the bottom half, so we're gonna switch that around. See Vlad in the mid lane versus Malzahar, which isn't a bad matchup.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
I would like to see him start something else that's not a Doran shield, though.
Yeah, alright, I don't know that much about items, so I really can't comment, but that's a surprise to me. But nothing gonna happen here at level 1 back in our day. The directed camera really wants us to know they're waiting in this bush.
Yes, they do. And there's not a whole lot going for either team at level 1. We will see that Vlad hovered in the mid lane, so it will be Gabe versus Blab. And Disenchanted and Killian in the bottom lane versus Salvo and Scotch.
So, double Ignite in the bot lane. Mistake?
No, they're just both really greedy for the kill. Can't wait to double Ignite someone who's not going to die.
Joke's going to be on us when they get a 2-for-0, igniting both Salvo and Scotch.
Oh, if I ever saw TFF coordinate that well, they'd be the best team in the league.
Alright, we're in.
Let the Clown Fiesta begin.
Yeah, and this is truly potential to be a fiesta among fiestas.
And I think someone in our chat has made an excellent point. If TFF wins this game, how tilted do you think back in our day will be that they lost to a ridiculous Freg jungle?
I don't know, but if Freg gets solo killed in the jungle here, he's going to have to flash bright and early. Master Splinter already forcing his way. And Freg, welcome to the big leagues. You're not up against SBL top laners anymore. You are up against Master Splinter as your direct opponent. By far the most talented player he's been up against this season.
So something that people who don't jungle don't understand is Trundle wins at level 2. Like, you cannot fight Trundle at level 2. So you just let him go take that Scuttle Crab, and you call it a day.
Well, at least this could be a learning experience. Freg got to pick up that lesson, hopefully, in case we go into a game 4 and they end up both jungling again.
Yeah, I really don't know what to expect right now.
I looking like some action here. Is Splinter, he is up a level.
Good
actually,
flash from Dan to save his life. If he would have gotten stunned to the wall, he was going to die.
Yeah, and now we see if directed camera will ever take us to the jungle. Freg being chased very far out of this red buff. Splinter is a level up. He has his Malzahar, who is completely beating Vladimir here. And now the top laner just finally starting to come down. And it must not have been that exciting because we're going to see some under turret CSing.
Excellent. But yeah, no, Splinter's doing an excellent job at abusing that matchup. You know, this is what Zach should have been doing with the Lee Sin. Unfortunately, he was spotted on a ward, and Freg is not understanding that Master Yi does not win early game.
Yeah, he's needs some levels to turn into Master Yi.
I am
He's looking just like Mr. Yi so far.
I am actually surprised we haven't seen Dario Chapman try to go for a charge the wall whenever Dan's stepping over there to try to like step on the shield. As Poppy does a surprising amount of burst when she stuns you into the wall. And she also brought that ignite. So she could potentially kill Dan right now.
Yeah, he has to be careful though. We do see Freg is here, and he is ready to save his boy's life.
That's it.
Here it comes, ignite and an easy flash out. Bait unsuccessful as now Trundle makes it top lane, and maybe they try to dive E if he does something silly.
They might be able to just dive E in the first place. We will see a teleport out of the Wukong, so that should be the end of that. And so far, things aren't looking good.
Well,
TFF.
we'll see. It's not going to be as awful as it could be. There's no teleport out of Dario Chapman to get back to this lane, so he's got to keep his foot on the gas.
Good job by Dan using the clone there after he saw both people reveal themselves. Well, it's not every day that Poppy just comes out of the bush running at you. We have to see nice combination of CC
Yeah,
with the gray
heal
health.
comes out of Salvo, so we hadn't, even though we've been watching it the whole time, we hadn't really talked about it, but Disenchanted and Killian are kind of forcing the play down in the spot lane, but I imagine back in the day feels fine about that. They just want this Ezreal to scale up. They just want to get into actual skirmishy fights.
Yeah, no, Disenchanted is doing an excellent job on this Yasuo. He can definitely try to bully Ezreal off the lane and deny a lot of CS with that Q farm by just throwing up the wind wall. So right there, I would have loved to see a wind wall come up just to block the cannon so that Salvo wouldn't be able to kill it. Oh, that denies quite a bit of gold. Yep, and this is where... Oh.
Yeah, Dan currently has the level advantage, so he immediately goes and looks for a play with the ult. Dario Chapman has to pop through his only health potion the second he arrives in lane. Remember, no teleport to come back.
Not bad out of Dan, but a good job by Dario Chapman to block that dash in with the W.
Yeah, that was cleaner than my Poppy. But Chopman now 6 himself, so that'll slow things down in this top lane. As it's been a fairly slow game. That doesn't really surprise me with the number of unknown factors here.
Yeah, you know, Frag's getting to just farm. He is actually down quite a bit to Master Splinter. 10 CS in the jungle is quite a lot. And down a level. He's currently
he's
only
down
5 to the
about
6.
200 golds. So it was a solid start in the jungle matchup for Master Splinter. Back in the day, I mean, they are accruing small leads across the board here. They're up 800 gold right now.
The exciting thing to look at is Disenchanted is in the lead in CS. That Yasuo will also play in a big factor. If Yasuo gets big, Yasuos can take over games.
Yeah, and he's in a good position with the lane kind of frozen in the spot lane while he's up CS. So this is going to be actually a pretty sizable lead, as this should be fairly easy for Yasuo Brands, although Frag here, finding out the hard way, just what does that Trundle do? But the flash for flash, Master Splinter is not quite able to secure, but
maybe another kill.
back now in this top lane, Dario Chopman dives in, tosses the hammer, pops the champion.
Solo
Master
kills
Yi.
for Poppy.
That one
Poppy.
didn't require the ignite, so he's still gonna be strong. But in this bot lane,
Wow.
here we go. Yasuo coming in, and now Scott is stuck between a bad man and a burning man.
What are you
He's
doing,
gonna try
Zach?
Killian! Killian!
What are you doing?
Killian! That was awful! You're gonna get the trade here, but oh,
What
good
on earth
God.
did you... Oh, Mike. That was bad. You did not need to die. That was a little bit of Tilt City. They're running in, trying to be like, no, I'm gonna get the kill.
Rough stuff.
But a 2-0 Yasuo.
Yeah, that's big. And a lot of CS as well. This Ezreal, it's going to be a long, long time till Salvo is impactful in this game. He's already down 1,000 gold. Now he's currently entering his weakest phase of the game, sitting on Tier of the Goddess.
No, and if Wukong just kind of stays even, doesn't die up here anymore, all he has to do is knock people up for that Yasuo.
Yeah, Dan can afford to be behind as long as he builds some defense. It's weird. This is just such a weird game to keep a tempo on, but this is fine for TFF. Very,
Absolutely.
very fine.
You know, the later this game goes, the more damage their team comp has, and they will be able to just steamroll fights by out-damaging their opponents.
Ooh, Blast Cone.
Yep, a little bit of trolling there between Frag and Dan. Bit of messing around. But, you know, when you're down 2-0 in a series, you know, you got to try to keep spirits high somehow.
Absolutely.
You know, and we see Gabe doing an excellent job here in the mid lane. Another champion that will be hard to burst down. Vladimirs are well known for being big, annoying mages to kill. They have a lot of survivability.
Yeah, it goes further than hard to burst down. It's hard for me to see Gabe dying at all, really. Unless we're talking like aced team fights, game totally lost. It should be very easy to be him. But in this bot lane, Master Splinter has, it looks like, some free access to that back, and now he's just coming
Good
down.
ult out of
Top bench
Scott.
coming in with the Ezreal. Frag is a long way away. And here we go, the damage on Killian. Master Splinter gets healed. A nice ult actually hits the only one man
wow,
out.
nice.
Scott was going forward, actually. Scott very split. Scott,
Frag is coming in.
yeah, a really
Good
awkward
job.
fight. Split focus out of back in our day, and it costs them big.
Excellent use of stopwatch by Killian there. And they're going to get the first hurt for this. We're now seeing life for TFF. This is the first game where they're actually making plays around the map. So I think it's a really good job. Oh, a nice wind wall will block the Ezreal Qs onto Disenchanted. And we will see how Blab have to flash away. Another kill for Frag. And he should be able to pick up Blab.
And now Frag is on line 3-0 on Master Yi.
We will see Blab pick up the kill due to the space aids on the Yasuo. But those are two 3-0 sword bros.
Yeah, the snowball is now rolling here, and we're going to find out on the fly. Does back in our day know how to respond to strange situations? And remember, they do not have a teleport either, so they're going to have to be very on point with their macro, as both the Yasuo and the Master Yi can take easy split push plays.
Absolutely. You know, and if they decide to group up, as they are a team fighting comp, they're going to struggle, because if Wukong knocks up 2 or 3 members, that Yasuo ult is going to be massive. And we have seen TFF in the past coordinate as a team to do these kind of things. You know, they do a lot of solo plays, but once in a while they group up and have some amazing team fights out of them.
Yeah, so looking in this bot lane, Disenchanted up 1,600 gold against Salvo right now.
I think this is the first time as well that TFF has been up in the series in gold.
Yeah, it sure feels like it.
Only 1,000 gold lead, but that is still a change in the right direction for TFF. Nice damage out of Scotch and Salvo there onto the brand.
Yeah, Killian actually, now I think he's in some danger. Scott Meanwhile, in this top lane, Frag
Nice
has arrived
dodge
with
out of
great
Frag.
dodge, and Nash is going to go coming up from the river, but is it too late? Dario Chopman is very low, but Frag is going deep. Oh, Frag really wants it. Can he get it? The Poppy survives just long enough, and Master Snow Poppy gets the kill from the turret damage.
That was not worth. That was a 3-0, then 4-0. A shutdown for the Poppy, who is building Triforce?
Yep.
Why? Oh man. That's a Mad Cow special to build Triforce on literally every top laner that he plays. But I am not a fan of that.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about it either, but
let's just take a second to think about a Warden or a Randuin's Omen Thornmail Poppy instead right now.
Well, maybe he's thinking that he has to build some damage because the Ezreal's never going to have it. And the Malzahar low on the uptake.
I don't think you need your Poppy to be the damage dealer. You need your front line.
We'll find out. This game accelerating a bit here as some turrets have been traded. Actually, Killian has to flash out as soon as he sees that bad Mad Cow.
No, I do like the flash because they did have a ward in that bush, so Mad Cow would have been able to just charge and kill him.
Master Yi does have some access behind Salvo and Renai here, and yeah, he is coming up the lane. Disenchanted looking for something. Master Yi popping the speed, popping the Q. The heal
nice
comes through,
suppression.
and a great suppress out of Blackboard. They've taken out Master Yi, and now can they find anything else? They don't have any CC, unless Gabe wants to fight in here. But the Wukong is here, and the fight is gonna be disengaged. But to me, that fight kind of showed what back in our day probably is feeling fine about. Oh, now Poppy finds Killian.
Yep. Overstaying, And now we will see the Rift Herald go down, and should be multiple turrets.
So he's going to be the one, and there is negative wave clear on the side of table for 4 here, so I think they're going to look for a fight. Wukong setup is coming in stealth, but he takes the very passive on. He's going for the front line, not the back line.
Poppy's
Salvo
down.
trying to rain
That's
down
a lot
damage,
of their
but the
damage.
E has arrived. The E is going forward onto Salvo. Salvo misses a few, shoots it the wrong way, and now Frag, 2 kills
Frag
in this
gets
fight. Make that a 3rd before he goes down, and Scott's running for his Kenchi life. It ends up being a 2 for 4 as Blab arrives back in the mid lane.
Good job by TFF turning that around. Frag played huge there. Killing the Poppy early was a very big thing for them.
Yeah, they're going to get easy damage. Should be a mid lane turret take, although Blab feeling pretty safe here holding this one as long as he doesn't get knocked up. And actually, Blab, I think, just held this turret in the 1v.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of damage right now, and Killian almost going down to the space aids. Malzahar has quite a bit of wave clear.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty big play out of Blab.
Yeah, no, he's quite strong right now. Oh, we are finally seeing that Poppy's starting to build some tank, which I do like. The more tanky she gets, the harder it will be for the 3 AD champions of TFF to go in.
Yeah, but fortunately, the brand is very far behind. Because it feels like Mad Cow, after building that Triforce, he needs both tank stats in this game.
Yes, he does. I would much prefer a armor focus because of how...
Oh, Killian!
What are you
the
doing?
brand gets further behind. That's going to turn into a bot lane turret. Blab, he wants more. He's going to lay some nice poke down. He's actually wants more than just a poke, but that's a Vladimir. So that's kind of an ult for nothing out of Blab, and that's actually a very important ult because he wants to be able to ult a Yasuo or a Yi coming in. But Chopman still sees this play, some nice damage coming out. He's not
A
letting
huge ult on a Wukong.
Oh, he gets everyone right there in the corridor. Now Frag is going to try to frag out. He's found one, but this fight is not over. The backline damage is coming from back in our day, but the front lines are pushing forward, and it's a 4-for-4 with just the mid laners alive. No, sorry, Killian has respawned, and now Blab, he may have forgotten about this brand just as I did, as he is off in no man's land.
4 for 3 at this point, as Ezreal was able to escape as well. But no, Vlad's getting big. TFF's doing a good job at killing that front line really quickly.
I honestly, if Blab had still had his ult, I think they could have had a big win in that fight.
Jumping back to the Poppy, I would like to see just an armor focus, as there's no... I mean, Brand is so far behind right now, he's not going to be bursting anybody anytime soon. And Vladimir doesn't do huge amounts of burst damage. More consistent, like, stick on top of you, and you're never going to get away from me, that kind of damage. And with a Randuin's Omen, Thornmail, and Mormogs, you'll be able to shut down 3 members of that team.
Speaking of tank stats, I would really like to see Dan get some. The Black Cleaver on the 0-4 Wukong at 19 minutes. He's only sitting on 500 gold, so he is a long way away from being someone that doesn't ult in and die. And even that can be dangerous.
No, the Black Cleaver should be fine.
Oh, Killian. Killian's nightmare continues. No, maybe it doesn't kill him. Walks out into his team, and he actually baits back in our day into following. The Ezreal just barely misses. And I wasn't watching my Miniman, but a huge play out of Killian to pull 2 in. Finally, that mid lane turret goes down.
Yeah. No, Freg getting another kill. Now up 8-4-4. Yasuo 6-2-5, and a 3-0-4 Vlad. Their damage dealers are quite ahead.
Yeah, they're gonna go try to take their second Drake of the game as well. It's just an Earth, so it's not an Inferno. That's really the big thing here, and I'm sure that Back in Our Day is happy it's not an Infernal.
Absolutely. If there were Infernal Dragons in this game, it would be quite dangerous. Quite dangerous for Back in Our Day.
Yeah, but Shotman, though, wants to lay some damage out on the Disenchanted. He has the ult available, but he doesn't need it. And there's a solo kill that really should not have been given up.
Yep, Disenchanted had flash. Should have been able to just get away from there.
I think he knew he was dead. A little too late there. But that should have been a free escape for the whole team after they'd secured that dragon. But instead, they cede a little pressure back over to Back in Our Day. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about losing control in this game. But Master Yi has taken an ult away from the Poppy.
Yeah. And now he should just go join the fight because Poppy has no teleport.
Yeah, ults traded. Back in Our Day,
it's a 4 versus 4.
I think they've forgotten about this Ignite on the Chopman. Because they're playing this very, very aggressively, but fortunately Yasuo was still in base, so TFF does not pull any triggers. Now we see everyone kind of backing out towards the river, towards this mid lane. And this strange game of League of Legends continues.
Yes, it does. It's finally good to see some life out of TFF. You know, we see the gold has now equaled out with a small advantage for Back in Our Day. Very minuscule, though. And that gold is mainly focused on their Poppy and their Malzahar.
Yeah, now we see Freg going forward, tries to find a solo kill, does not. And
Freg
now,
doing the Freg.
Finally some pressure is here. There is a gigantic creep wave building up in the bot lane.
Yep, I'd like to see Dan go down there and clear that up as he has the teleport, but it looks like Vlad's going to head there. So we should see Back in Our Day get around that Baron and potentially start it up.
Yeah,
Yep, and here we go.
Yeah, Baron started. There is no way for this Vlad to get here. Frag has not spawned yet either. And, I mean, there's no sight. They have the pink in the pit. Back in Our Day does. So we may see a 3 versus 5, but this is still fairly early. Wukong Yasuo can really shred some things apart. This Baron damage, but Baron is
Ezreal's
getting
taking
low.
some damage.
I think they want to commit. Now Wukong coming in, a big
Oh,
the Yasuo's come forward. Poppy's trying to disengage, but there was just negative damage being dealt. But back in our day, they finally killed Disenchant, but it's a 1-for-1. That's their tank down. The Ezreal goes straight through the uprights, and now Greg has arrived. Can he find some kills? He's going on the Scotch, gets a reset, and it's looking like this is going to be a big win for Table for 4.
An ace.
And it will be a 2 for 5.
Great job out of Gabe and Dan.
Yeah,
Gabe going in there and
honestly,
stalling for time, and Dan getting that huge 4-man knockup for the Yasuo to come in and, you know, ult everybody almost.
It was a mental Baron out of back in our day. What did you think would happen against the Wukong and the Yasuo? Did you think you would just turn and kill him? Did you think you could stop them?
Yeah, you know,
It's
they're
23 minutes.
and they're 5 damage, and you have a tank who's not very tanky.
What a strange game. Ugh, I still have no idea what to think about this game.
It's potentially the game that causes back in our day to tilt, and we go 5 games.
I'm not worried about back in our day tilting if they lose this game. I'll say that now.
Okay.
They are too experienced of players to come out of a loss and say anything other than, all right, we got cheese, let's go on to game 4.
But we do have to worry about if this goes later and later, will Splinter have time?
Is that an issue tonight?
I'm not sure. That's why I'm wondering.
I not heard anything about it being, but we'll find out, I guess. We'll worry about that after this thing, though, because there's still a lot to unpack in this game, as we have 2 casters that are just as lost as the audience on what the hell is going to happen in the next 10-15 minutes here.
No. Something I do want to say, though, is Salvo has been doing a good job at laying down that early poke when they are grouped as 5, and has been really making it so back in our day can force on a subject. So if he keeps that up, it will be good for them. He is at a very strong point for Ezreal with the Muramana and the Triforce completed. I would like to see him go... I would like to see him go Blade of the Ruin King next. Just so he has a little bit more on his auto attacks.
Alright, but it looks like back in our days ready to fight. They've got some damage, but here we go. A teleport coming through. Wukong has free access to that ass, but his teammates are being shredded. They're also low, but they've only gotten 1 kill. And now Wukong on the Salvo, who's flashing away. Now the front lines coming back towards each other before finally disengaging, and all of that, we get a 1-for-1.
Yep, really good job killing Disenchanted right off the bat there. If he was able to live longer, that fight could have went very bad for back in our day.
If they do find the play, they get time to slow this game down some more. Tibble for 4 is heading over towards this dragon. It's a second ocean, probably the least useful in this game. Back in the day, I would imagine is really happy about that.
And there's an Infernal Drake as our next dragon.
Alright, it's later than I wanted to see it, but we are going to get it. A huge dragon in just 6 minutes time. By the way, you wanted it. There's finally a Randuin's on the table. Master Splinter picking that up on the trundle.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah, about time.
Reduces attack speed. Reduces crit. What more could you ask for in an item? And guess what? We do see Dan building the Dead Man's Plate. So he is building tanky. He knows his job is just to go in there and press R. And I do like the Black Cleaver, so he's reducing everybody's armor when he goes in.
Yeah, big teammates that can capitalize on that, as he's really setting Frag and Disenchanted up in these fights.
Yep, I would like to see a Thornmail here soon out of one of the 2 tanks on back in our day. Scotch, keep going. I would like to see Scotch continue building all of the support items that he's building. Keep bringing all the utility that he can for his team. Maybe a Knight's Vow here soon. But we will see a problem that there is no sort of grievous wounds for back in our day to deal with the Vladimir.
Yeah, and now they had no idea what's going on around Baron. They have to check with True Shot Barrage, so that is off the menu for a bit here. As these teams also seem confused about what to do, as they're kind of just defaulting back to the mid lane a lot. With such weird picks, I'm not surprised that no one knows what to do.
At least back in our days, setting up their side waves. Now they have side wave pressure, and they don't even have to teleport, so that's really
Here
good.
we go. They're looking for the pick. Killian is low, but once again, Killian just makes that one sweep of bait. They do kill Gabe O'Neal though, but now the Wukong is in the back line, but he is very, very swift from his team. They're all very low, but they're all just barely alive. A double kill on the mountain. How can they find more? They need to find more. They need to take something, and Tom Kemp's going deep. Splitter going forward, gets Killian in the back line. Greg is looking for it. He's found one. Can he find more? He finds two. What a huge saving fight out of Greg.
Oh my God, Greg.
Three, and he's going to. Greg maybe saves the game. He's looking for four. No, he does not get it. It is an ace, but not for very long. Gabe O'Neal spawns in 15 seconds. I don't think Back in Our Day can do any damage here, but they're going to try, damn it.
That was a really good job by Dario Chapman in that fight. He charged in, stunning the Yasuo, and then ulting him out so that Wukong ult wouldn't be effective. And Blab as well, getting the suppression over the wall on top of the Master Yi to start that fight.
Yeah, a lot went right there, and they still out by the skin of their teeth. I think they've hit the point where they have to sell out, and they have to honestly give everything to making sure Freg dies, because he can just put out too much damage left alone in these fights, and we see it fight after fight. He comes in late. And, I mean, there was a second there, I honestly thought he was going to get the 1 versus 5.
I did as well. That Tom Kench was very low to going down. We can credit the Triforce on Poppy there for bringing that extra damage that was enough to knock him down. But ultimately,
it's a mid-inhibitor turret taken from Back in Our Day, but
we are at a critical mass point that if there is a full ace and there's enough members standing up, then one of these teams can just end the game.
Yeah, and we're really hitting a point where I want to see what can Table for 4 do macro-wise, because
you know what?
They have the Master Yi, no one can 1v1. They have a Wukong, no one can match the teleport. They really need to, I think, commit to some kind of split, but they're content to just keep playing around Baron. Although Ezreal was just showing in the bot lane, and yeah, they're actually going to go in towards this Baron. There is no way the Back in Our Day gets here. And that was a massive, massive macro mistake out of Back in Our Day.
Absolutely.
Baron Dasher.
Because now you've just put the Vlad, Brand, and the Wukong, or the Yasuo in the mid lane, clearing out the waves, and you put Wukong and Master Yi in the side waves. 1-3-1 this. Back in Our Day doesn't have enough dive to get on top of you, as long as you're playing safe, to only clear waves.
Hope it's not dented.
And you abuse the fact that you have 2 split pushers.
Yeah, now Wukong is opting towards that top lane, but they're looking for a bait here. Can they find Gabe O'Neal? And they screw it up. Gabe goes to face check. A costly mistake while they have this Baron buff.
Absolutely costly. And now Killian's gonna die as well.
I don't know. Killian makes it out a lot, but finally Killian dies for his crimes against positioning. And Shotman is not done.
And
he
another
gets the stun onto Greg. He's open. Greg has to find something, but he can't. And
why?
No, Table for 4. They were in such a good position, but off of one man face checking, they might lose the game. They're at least going to lose this inhibitor. And I think Back in Our Day is scared of this composition. I think they want to end before Table for 4 can regroup. They have some creeps coming. They have to be careful though. They're fighting into this backdoor bonus. Right Iverson coming in, trying to go big with this Wukong ult. But Wukong is down. Disenchanted. You've been huge all game. But this is too tall of a task for one Yasuo. Gabe and Killian are about to respawn, but I think it's too little too late. And somehow the clowniest game of the season ends in the clowniest of ways. Table for 4 goes down.
Not over yet. Salvo's not hitting the Nexus. And that will do it. I cannot believe that they just watched Dario Chapman walk up and stun 3 people.
And it feels almost poetic that in their last game of the season, Table for Four loses on bad macro. Because that's just, it's been a flaw for them all season. What a heartbreaker for Table for Four. As they had made some runs as the season went on, ever since they got Gabe O'Neill, but they just fell completely flat tonight.
So across this series, I would like to talk to Dario Chapman.
All right, let's see if we can bring him in.
Buddy joined your
All right.
channel.
Hello.
Welcome, Mr. Cow.
Good to be here.
So is Ignite top lane the new meta?
Dude, teleport's garbage right now. But you just gotta match the lane pressure. But also it was Dan.
So for this last game here, did you start to get worried a little bit after a Table for Four started to build a lead with all of their damage that they had?
Never. We were only down like what, 2 gold at most?
You were
Never worried.
down by quite a bit of gold at one point. I was getting worried because you were a Triforce Poppy early.
Yeah, it's the way to go.
As indeed it is, as you were the carry of your team in this final game. So across this series, what was the mentality going to this game? Is this the series that you guys were focusing on, or were you already moving past Table for Four in your planning?
Well, I mean, in all honesty, we pretty much didn't practice this week. Monster Hunter came out, Rainbow Six Siege. It's a good week. Not for League though.
Yep, so there's definitely been a lot of distractions for a lot of players in this league this week. So now you are moving on to the semifinals against Ornhub. What is the mentality going into that?
I guess I gotta quote Zach here. 3-0 sweep easy.
All right, you can't argue with that. So I guess we'll see you in the finals, Smackdown. Congrats on a strange series, but a 3-0 win, and ultimately our top three make the top three as we predicted for most of the season. So that'll do it, guys. We'll see you next week for what I think is going to be an incredibly exciting best of 5